This is just a short presentation to introduce you to the SuperLines which went live in your back office today. There are 4 SuperLines, SuperLine 2, 3, 4 and 5. They actually pay out the same commissions as the corresponding cash lines. So SuperLine 2, 300, SuperLine 3, 600, SuperLine 4, 1200 and SuperLine 5, 2400. Now every time you cycle in a cash line, excluding cash line 1, you're entered into the corresponding SuperLine. Now every time you cycle in a SuperLine, you're automatically re-entered. There's no limit to how many times you can be in a SuperLine. So you've got new positions coming through and also re-entries as well. Now the system places you in the SuperLine as follows. First of all, it'll look for your sponsor. Now, if your sponsor is not there, it will look for the next available upline. If that's not there either, it will look for an earlier position of your own in the SuperLine and attach yourself to yourself, so to speak. And if that's not there, the last option is that it will place you in the highest available spot in the entire SuperLine. So you could really go anywhere but the next available spot in the whole SuperLine, and that's talking about company wide. Okay, now let's just have a look at the back office. There's now a new option in there you can click on. Beside where it says cash lines, you've now got my SuperLines as well. And when you click on that, if you have SuperLine, you're in there. This is what it will look like. Okay, now this member has just entered the first part of the SuperLine. There are 2 parts, the feeder line and the SuperLine itself. The feeder line gets you through to the SuperLine. That's where you actually get paid commissions. So 2 parts, but when you re-enter, you only ever re-enter the SuperLine. The feeder line you only go through the 1 time with each position. Now what you're going to see here is this looks very different to a cash line, because you'll see there are spots complete with empty spots in between, and then another spot complete and empty spots. The reason for that is because you will only attach to your sponsor, your upline, yourself, or last resort the highest available position. So in fact there can be gaps to actually be completed and filled in as people come through from the cash lines and attach themselves to other members in the line. So it does not work in the same way as the cash lines at all. It's completely different. And this cash line here, just to make it a little bit clearer, hopefully, on the right hand side, those are the ID numbers with the spaces of the cash line, SuperLine we just looked at. And on the left hand side of this diagram, you'll see that 1276 is attached to 1275. 479 in fact has nobody below that position. And just look at 479 SuperLine now, and you'll see that in fact his SuperLine or her SuperLine is in fact empty, and 6 available spots there. These are members who've gone through to the second part, i.e. phase 2, so getting ready to get paid there. And you can see that they have no positions in the feeder line at the moment until they cycle again and come through, because when they re-enter, they don't re-enter the feeder line, they re-enter the actual SuperLine. Now here's another example. This member here, if you look at 2988 in this line, okay, as far as the top person concerned, the top person has the 2 top spots filled, but in fact 2988 does not have anybody below her in the cash line or him. And the reason for that is because both those IDs are actually attached to 3651. So if we go to 2988's SuperLine now and take a look, you will see that in fact this ID has nothing below it at all, because those positions are not attached to him or her. Okay, so you can watch this over a few times and look at the diagrams that I drew out, and then we'll do some trainings on this next week. But just to recap, the system places you as follows. First, to your sponsor. Second, looks for the next available upline. Third, looks for another of your positions. And fourth, the highest available spot in the entire SuperLine. And just remember, you cannot go wrong here. You cannot do anything wrong. Okay, so if you don't understand it,